the big thing on me is everything that has happened, I strongly believe happens for a reason, right? 6 years in my life, I had master's degree, did not find a job. I was living on a stipend, literally in a city like Chicago, and I worked 7 days a week, 14, 15 hours every day, right? And that is mentally, emotionally very draining for somebody who's come all the way from India to United States in hopes and dreams that there'll be a bright career, I'll be working in corporate, I'll have this position, and I'll be making a big impact every day. But for 6 years, every single day, not to have that is very traumatizing, right? And for me, the fact that I lived through it. It took a long time, perseverance, just believing that something good is going to come out of it. That was challenging, right? Again, financially, emotionally, having a family, can't ask for help from parents because they think you are living this dream in America and they've sacrificed, they send you here, and then circumstances are not favorable. Yet, to be able to believe that things will happen for a reason, believe that you have it in you and not lose trust within yourself and just keep at it. That has been transformational. When I look back now, Kurt, those 6 years are the reason why I'm here today. Those 6 years allowed me to, get my citizenship, allowed me to be in this country, has allowed me to grow. And what I learned from that experience is what has made me stronger today. Right? There's a song, right? What doesn't kill you makes you only stronger. And I think it is true. I wish I could sing, but I think that is true. And my firm believes that all these things happen for a reason. All we have to do is not give up and keep going. Also makes me a coach. That's why I'm here to provide that hope and confidence that, look, we have to keep doing what we have to keep doing. And at some point, success is inevitable. Right? I also heard this from Naveen Jain, right? He's a billionaire entrepreneur. On one of the podcasts from Mind Valley, I heard him say, right, it's like heartbeat. When things go up and down, which means it's a sign you are living. But when things go flat, what is happening, right? You're dead. And, I think it is very relevant in many circumstances for us as entrepreneur, even in day to day. All these things up and down that happen, they just make us stronger. So that's one story I always say. When people say things are not going their way, I say just wait and watch, but don't give up. You have to still do your part, but things will eventually happen.
Pravin Betala. You're
Yes.
here with me today on the Solution Advisors podcast. You're a transition coach. We just met recently on LinkedIn and we've just immediately been talking. And I love what you're about, the energy that you shared with me up until this point. So I'm really excited to have you on here. And I want to start by asking you this question that I have, which is just personally interesting for me, is you're a transition coach, but you are an engineer and you got a leadership background. Like what does that transition look like from being that engineer and what I would consider more maybe the science and system side of things into transition coaching people, which I'm expecting is much more feeling and potential and all that kind of stuff. So what is your transition story here?
My transition story is very interesting and it is difficult, just like any other transition, right? Today I call myself, I'm an engineer by day, I'm a coach by evening and night. And what does that mean? I've always been an engineer, chemical engineer by training, I should say, by schooling. But eventually, as I've gone into different aspects of life, I've always been in front of change. And what that has done is allowed me to work with systems, with people, different places, different cultures. And what I've learned over the years it is um, these transitions are critical for a person for their success. How they handle these transitions and what happens during these transitions, the emotional, physical, financial journeys that people go through uh, could be transformational or could be devastating for a person. And as I was going through my own career journey, just, working through my job, being an engineer, I figured I could be an engineer of a product, or I could be an engineer for a mind helping people as well. So, and over the years, I've always heard folks tell me, you're great at providing advice and guidance. And my friends, my family, everybody come to me for advice. And then, as I said, about 3 years ago, I received a message from a friend from 15 years back saying, Pravin, do you remember that one time where you helped me provide this advice? I just wanted to send a thank you note because that totally changed trajectory of my life. And same week it happened. One of my colleagues who used to work with me and now is at another company, he sent me a message too, saying, Pravin, that everything I learned from you just by being around you, it was so great because I use all those tools and tricks, and I'm very successful in my current role. And one last thing happened where I heard in a podcast, if you are blessed with something, and if you don't offer as a service, you're doing disservice to the community and humanity. And that was enough for me to tip over and say, you know what? Okay, that is it. I've been doing this all along. I just need to start offering this to the community and make sure that everybody knows I'm here to help them.
Has it been challenging for you to step into this new role?
It has been natural to step in as a coach and a mentor, but it is a challenge to start this as a business. I'm not naturally somebody, who is going to do business as such, because my goal is always to help people. But also I cannot help if I get into business side of things. And one dilemma I've always had is I'm working full time. How do I do this on the side? So I had to apply my own coaching principles myself, create spaces and time for a new me, right? Engineer by day, a coach by evening and weekend. How is that possible? So I had to create my space, see myself to be able to do that. And things worked out. Things do work out if you put effort towards it. So it's working great so far. And like any other business, could I do more? Could I do things better? I can. Uh, to be able to tell story on Storing podcast, this is the first great step.
Excellent. Well, I'm curious about your timing, and this might be an interesting conversation for people in transition, but specifically in your case. Could you have done this sooner? Or was it that all of that experience that you had just sort of happened to come to fruition at this time? I'm just thinking about people going through their own process, going like, oh, I wish I started sooner, or something like that. So maybe talk about timing and how that's worked into your story.
Yeah. I think in my case, the timing might be perfect. It is, something I needed that nudge and it just happened now. But I'll definitely tell you this, Kurt, if I could find a coach myself 15 years ago, I would sign up now within a heartbeat. Because just working with a coach to be able to do, what I'm doing right now and how transformational it can be for growth, to have somebody to talk to, get different perspective on how I can manage and plan growth versus just naturally growth happening is a big difference between the two. So could I have done this earlier? I wish I could. But here I am. There are many more years to come. I am at the right place at the right time to be able to still help and serve those who I am here to serve.
So let's talk about the people who maybe they're wondering if it's the right time. Maybe they've had this nudge for years. Like I know a lot of people who just have a really hard time moving, even though they can feel it in their hearts. So can you talk about the timing in that case? Like, is it ever too late for someone to transition or go into something new? Or is it just like, how do people give themselves the permission to actually make a change that they know in their heart they need to make?
Yeah. The best time was yesterday. The next best time is today, right? The other thing is nobody needs permission from anybody else to allow themselves to grow. They just have to trust and be kind to themselves and allow themselves to say, you know what, I am ready for this. I am going to take the next step. Most of the times, we wait for that perfect plan, perfect timing to make things happen. And I say, Usually it's just that one step of action that is missing in that perfect plan. Everything else is there. Once you start doing it, things fall in place. So today is the best time you could start investing in yourself.
What are some of the hidden signs that someone might have that shows that they're actually in transition or ready to transition, but they haven't given themselves that permission yet, or that next step?
Yeah. That is a great question, Kurt. One thing I'll say, nobody needs to wait for anybody's permission because it's their life, it's their growth. So it's for them to take action and get going. Some of the signs typically for folks who are ready is when these questions start popping in their mind. I've done a lot of this work, but I'm not going anywhere. I am doing everything possible every day, yet I'm not happy, right? I I work many, many hours every day and I don't find time to do anything else in my life. Or they've spent many years doing a job, doing work, business, whatever that may be. But now they start thinking, how did all these years go by and everything I used to love or I still love to do, I'm not able to do. Now what do I do? Because very few years are left now. Such a long time has passed. All these are great indicators, great signs that you are ready for a change or it's okay. And change also doesn't mean just changing job, right? You are ready for a new mindset on how you approach things. That's what transition is about. It's not about changing job. It's not about changing career. It can be all of it, but it is how do you approach things differently while being happy and while being in alignment with who you are as a person. That is what I see as a true transition.
What are you optimizing for clients? Like this just came into my head. Like you said happiness, you said I think alignment. Like is there one specific thing that like everybody's aiming for here? Um like if I came to you and I'm like, I just don't feel very good right now. I think I want to change. I don't really know what to do. Like what would you tell me to like focus on as my North Star?
I think the one of the most important things here is again we all are chasing different things and that is what we think success and growth looks like. And to be honest, success and growth is different for every person. Part of my coaching process, what I help do, Kurt, is if you're seeking immediate answer, Pravin, I'm not happy, what can I do? There is no easy answer for that. We have to understand what is that you're chasing, why that happiness, and is that happiness coming from a particular source? Is the source your promotion? Is the source that you just don't have time? Or is the source that you didn't get sleep and that today you are very sad and annoyed or upset? What is it? Right, so part of my journey, coaching process is to understand what is driving you, what is motivating you, what does success and growth look like to you, right? That part is important. So being self-aware, finding your why, right? It's very nebulous, right? What does this why mean? You hear that Simon Sinek talks about this golden circle, all of that. But how do you actualize and find your why? That's what I help my clients do. Once you find it and you take right steps in alignment with that why, things naturally start happening. The growth that you're seeking, the joy and happiness that you're seeking, the time that you want for yourself and for others and your family, all things start falling in place. These are all pieces of puzzle, right? At times you are just looking at one piece of the puzzle or one corner. But when you start aligning with, overall what the picture is, and now you have to work towards it, that is what this coaching process helps you do. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, and I want to touch on coaching for a second, and we'll get a little bit deeper into the people you help and how you help them. But I want to just talk about this because it seems like the coach piece, and I was a coach, I've had many coaches, like I'm totally bought in on it. So you don't have to sell me, but I know that still so many people are just like, a coach? Like, what are you talking about? So explain to me why coaching is so important.
This is why coaching is so important. I'm a chemical engineer, right? I've done a lot of chemistry experiments. This is the best analogy I can give. Um, Two reactants, when they react, there's definitely after the reaction, there is going to be a product. Now, sometimes that reaction can take hours and hours, or sometimes it takes days. But the minute you drop a catalyst, that reaction, same reaction will happen at a faster pace. You'll get the output or the outcome or the product relatively faster. That's exactly what a coach is supposed to do, right? That's what a coach can help you enable. Everybody is destined for success. You work hard. All the things you are doing will still work for you. And eventually you will get there. That growth, the success, the product you are seeking, you will achieve it. The question is, are you willing to sacrifice many, many years to get there? Or would you rather work with a coach, help you identify that, get your reaction and pieces of your puzzle going faster so you can achieve your growth, the success, whatever that you're seeking at a faster rate? That is what a coach does. Be the catalyst in your own transformation journey.
So let's go back to the why for a second. Because you said, Simon Sinek is out here talking about your why, and it's like, well, you got to find that and you help them. And then you sort of went beyond with just like, which is what I helped them with. I want to dive a little bit deeper into here, if you can. I mean, obviously, you can't give away all the trade secrets, but what are some of the things people can start to think about to find their why?
Um, that's a good question, right? We all know about Ikigai. We've heard about Ikigai. It is trying to figure out what are you good at, what do you like, what is the value you bring most, to those around you, and what do you enjoy. That it's a combination of all of that, and digging deeper into that box and trying to figure out what that is. End of the day, all the activities we do, what motivates us, the joy, happiness, success, growth that we are seeking is all aligned around that. If we are naturally not doing things around that why, what happens, Kurt, is that is what causes dissatisfaction. I also say this, finding the why. When you recognize that you are not doing things in alignment with your why is, as a math, put 4 quadrants in there, right? What happens is there's only one quadrant you're focused on, right? Whether it is your personal journey, professional journey, let's say people in your life, all the fun things you do for play, is 4P exercise. Uh, we are mostly focused on our professional part of it. The center of that quadrant is your why, that circle. It's understood, right? When we talk about work-life balance, sometimes, yeah, you focus more on professional part, sometimes you focus more on personal part. But if your one quadrant takes over the entire square in your life, that is where this misalignment happens, which means there is no why because it's gone. Right? So as long as you can do that and keep the balance or alignment with your why and the 4 quadrants, generally, we can achieve what we are seeking in our lives.
That brings me to a question of people who are scared to give up the professional quadrant. Like, I'm imagining there are some people out there who could do a great job in their current role, but they just need more play, or they just need more relationships, or they just need, whatever the thing in their life is. Is it always when someone comes to you going like, I need a new job, this is terrible, is it always just the job? Or is there other things that can help someone get into alignment without quitting their job?
There are other things, definitely. That's a great question, by the way. Um, Most times, what I have seen is this: people have given up their personal goals for their professional goals, and that is where the great dissatisfaction, frustration usually emerges, right? And then there is also the play part of it, which play I define as all the things you want to achieve, right? Travel around the world, have this big truck I want to buy, but cost thousands of dollars. Most of the time, we associate everything to this professional goal. So in my line of work, everybody I talk to, they're always referring to professional goals as the job, as the work, as the business, right? So, but I look at it holistically, and it is true. People focus a lot on that, and anytime I talk to them, their response directly is, "Oh, I need to change a job, or I need a promotion." That's what they associate with, but there is a lot of underlying reason actually where they are and why they are in that position.
Let's talk about what's at stake here. Because I think a lot of people are more comfortable with the devil they know than the devil they don't know, right? You've heard that saying, and it's like people just they don't like change. even if it's like good change, it's
Yes.
uncertain and people just won't do it. They'll hold on to what's bad just in case what they change to is worse. So, can you talk about what's at stake here? Like, if you don't make these steps, yeah, you could stay where you're at, but like, there must be a cost to this. So, talk me through what happens if I don't lean into this transition.
If you don't lean into transition, what is at stake is time, time that you cannot get back, time that you cannot go back 20 years and restart your career, time that all the things you wanted to do in your life, like travel, spend time with family, all other aspirations you had, you cannot go back in time and restart all of that. So that is what is at stake. Earlier you understand and learn this, better it is for you. And one of the reasons I started all this activity now myself is I had this dream one day when I will be 60 and I will retire. The way I will spend time is I will do coaching. And then I asked myself, why am I not doing that now? Right? Why don't I start that now? And you're very right. Change is fearful, right? Nobody likes change. It is like, when you have a pain in your knee, right? You are happy to deal with that pain, eat a painkiller and just live with it. Then go through the surgery, change your knees so that you can be more active and be better at your life. It is that fear that you don't want to go through. For those who have replaced their knee, I hope nobody has to do that, but those who have done that, their quality of life is so much more better. So it's like that. Do you live with your painkiller throughout your life? Or do you make a proactive change so that you can lead a better life or a more fulfilled life? So, in essence, what they're missing out on is time, which is the one of the most precious entity we all have.
That's such an awesome point, by the way. Like, there's so many people who want to do something and they just put it off until the perfect time. And that's actually coincidentally why we moved to Thailand with our two kids, because I was working for myself and I said, oh, I would love to travel one day. I want to do that digital nomad thing. And my wife and I looked at each other like, why not now? Because like everything
Exactly.
was lined up. It was just, it was weird. Like people wouldn't have accepted that. People didn't want to hear that you can't move to Thailand with your kids.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we had this dream. And instead of like waiting and waiting and waiting and just like, oh, I wish that could happen, we just did it. And it sounds like you did the exact same thing with coaching. And so talk to me, to your clients, about this mindset from the dream perspective, because a lot of people don't do anything.
A lot of people chase dreams, but they don't live it. You know, I- One of my coaches told me dreams are like ice cream, right? You put them in a bowl. If you don't eat them now, if you leave it for future, it's gonna melt away. The ice cream is no longer an ice cream, right? So that is how dreams are. You gotta live them and stop chasing them for future. I help people stop chasing their dreams and start living from it because otherwise it just remains a dream.
That's really good. All right. So you've mentioned coaching and dreams and all these things, but you were really talking earlier about coaching being one of the ways to live the dream, to save time, to not waste this potential in you. And it reminds me of something you said earlier about banking. And I can't remember exactly what that was, but you said something about like savings accounts versus compounding. Can you explain to me what you mean by that?
You know, growth without coaching is like putting your money in a savings account where it's still going to grow, but at a lower interest. But with coaching, it's like putting your money in an investment account where it is compounding exponentially.
I think people are starting to already be a little bit overwhelmed by the AI and they're like, I just want a human. And actually, maybe that's an interesting point for coaching. Because, like, couldn't I just go to AI and be like, I want to go do a different life? How do you compare to ChatGPT, my transition coach, ChatGPT?
That's exactly why I'm offering a soundboard session now because the challenge is more and more people who have grown, last 25 years with internet and now these social media, people don't know anymore who's their best friend, who do you talk to, who do you share your thoughts, your ideas with, who can you trust, you don't know. So, and perspective is one of the best gifts, you can receive from somebody. The question is, when you're working somewhere at work, you can't talk to anybody at your work about your own career and your life. You can't bring the same challenges you're experiencing within your family because Your family is relying on you. There, it could, cause, anxiety there. So the person feels lonely. Who do you talk to? And I know what that is like because the 6 years in my career when I couldn't talk within my family because they're depending on me. I can't go talk outside at work because I'm working there. I worried about the impression they would have about me. That's why I thought, okay, there is a need to do the soundboard session. So I have starting to offer those now. Anybody who wants to talk about their career, they need a perspective. They have this dilemma they're going through. They're not sure who to talk to. They can come talk to me, right? They can book a time on my website. They can come talk to me. I am the safe, non-judgment zone for them. One-on-one, right? They don't need to worry about what is going to happen. What do I think about them? But it's a safe space. They can get another perspective from me. That's so important in this world of AI. I offer HI.
Oh, that's so good. Yeah, I think the exact same thing. Like, you can go put whatever into AI, but how do you discern with wisdom whether that's a good idea for you? And that's the thing. Like, we've got all the information. And so if it was only information, everyone would have, what is it? Everyone would be a millionaire and have a six pack, right? Like, it's not that we don't have the information. It's that we can't discern the wise way to move forward with that, applying it to our life. And I think that's what a coach does, or at least a good
Yeah.
coach.
I think we will always be stronger than AI could because I'll tell you what, AI has processing power, AI has information. What AI does not have is emotion. And that I think is our strongest asset. So I think regardless of how powerful AI can become, we will always be stronger than that because we'll always have the emotion part of it.
I agree. I saw something the other day that was like a robotics company, and the robots were, doing stuff in a cafe, and they were like waiters, and they were just taking over all the jobs.
Yeah,
But it's terrifying to me because the thing that a robot lacks is empathy and mercy. And so I imagine just like if something terrible is going on and you just beg for mercy, and a human being in their heart can be like, I know this is not right. I'm going to help you. But a robot's just going to be like, nope, you're done. So anyway, that's a sidebar.
I'll tell you one fear I have about a robot serving me food. What if there's a software malfunction and the robot decides to throw the food on my face? That's a fear I have. I don't know.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of that for me too. So anyway, I hear you. Okay, so someone comes to you, you have a client. What do you actually do? Like, tell me, what is a transition coach and how are you helping this person?
Yeah. A transition coach is essentially like a Sherpa, right? The person has to climb their own mountain, their own summit, but a Sherpa helps them get all the way to the top because of the experience, making sure that their journey is successful. They reach the top of the summit, achieve their desired outcomes, but I won't let them fall. I am right in lockstep with them all along the way till the top. Right? That's what a transition coach does. So when somebody chooses and reaches out to me, my goal is to understand what they are seeking, what is growth for them, and what does success look like. And then if they decide to work with me, I basically go through a 5-step process. Awareness, who they are, what are they seeking, what is their why, what are their priorities and immediate priorities, right? Because your priorities could change over time. So what are their immediate priorities? How do I take this intangible of why and these priorities and make them into tangible things? I make every priority a project, essentially, come up with a list of things that we could do and help achieve them. And that is the biggest challenge I notice is I want to get here, but I don't know why. And that is what, as a transition coach, my job is to make it easy for them, not overwhelming. My goal is to get over the whelm and basically break this into the small steps that they could take on a daily basis. And before they know it, they're already there.
Perfect. That was one of the things that I wanted to bring up, which is this Sherpa approach. Because you're right, we're not coming in to be the heroes. And I think for me, when I was a coach, I did make that mistake. I was like, I am the hero here because I figured it out. And I'm gonna
Yeah.
like just do what I did, and therefore you'll figure it out. But you're right. A coach is about so much more like the guide. The
Yeah.
story brand framework says that it's like the helpful guide, like the Yoda to the Luke
Yeah.
Skywalker. Your client is Luke Skywalker, and you're Yoda. So
Yeah.
that's really helpful. So is the 5-step framework the same for everyone who comes in? Like, do you always start with just figuring out the awareness and the why? Is there any variation in that, or how does that look like when you work with different people?
Yeah. No, the general approach is the same because we all go through the journey, but how everybody understands what their priorities are, how they figure out their why. The biggest difference I notice is success and growth is different. The priorities are different. So depending on the priority, the action items we take are different. And one other thing is every person likes the interactions are different. How they receive information is different. What achievement looks like for them is different. So based on that, I customize my plan, and that's one thing very different from me. Right? It's not a group session where there are 20 people in the room, and I'm teaching these phenomenal principles in life that they can go achieve, and now suddenly they are on the top of the mountain. If that was the case, I would be on top of Mount Everest today. Does not work that way. We all train differently. The food we eat is different, and our training plan is different. Yet the mountain is the same. We all are trying to get on. So that is why the general plan is the same, Kurt, but how we train, how we get there is different for every person. And that's my role as a Sherpa. For me, I have to understand who my client is, what do they want, how do they get there, what works and what does not work for them, what are their current limitations and barriers, and how can I help them get over it and then still achieve what they are seeking to achieve.
Right. Okay. And when you have worked with people or when you've witnessed transformations, are there any differences between the people who really have success in this transition time versus those who don't?
There is. What I've seen is mostly as we go through the transition process, usually it's a 12-week program for me. As soon as I'm towards the tail end is when they start seeing the benefits. They start seeing that growth is happening. I wish, I can always capture this. I love gardening. There are plants in my yard. Every day I walk by, I don't see them growing. But the minute, I leave them, go for a week and come back, suddenly the plant is grown, the flowers are blooming. That is how coaching is exactly. That's how it sounds. That's how it looks. And the person who is actually going through that journey, they don't see it, but people around them definitely see it. I'll give you a quick example here, Kurt. One of my clients basically was a team captain, was made a team captain, but the team really didn't like working with him, let's say. Okay. I'm paraphrasing that. And then as I started working with him, we realized, okay, let's change how you show up for your team. Okay, let's work on that a little bit. Week 3, week 4, he started hearing from his team, you are such a great captain. We love working with you. You are our role model. And then week 9, week 10 comes by, and people are pouring out their own emotions and challenges they are running into, sharing with this person. Same person, what happened in 6, 8 weeks, right? Not a whole lot, but a significant growth happened. People started working with him, liking him. He became a role model. So that is how growth happens, and it takes time, and it's very easy to fall back into your old habits too. So coaching is a continuous journey. I do that for myself. I won't serve you the food that I don't like to eat. I am myself learning every day, going through my current certification for neuroscience and transformation coach certification. I attend a lot of seminars and events. I'm myself practicing meditation, um, learning a lot every day because there's so much opportunity I have within myself to grow. Um, but I offer this because there's always somebody behind you, so somebody always ahead of you, right? I reach out to those who are ahead of me because I have opportunity to learn and grow. But I also extend my hand for those who are reaching, trying to get to where I am or go ahead of me. The joy is if I see somebody growing, thriving, and running at a fast pace ahead of me, I'm their best cheerleader. It gives me immense joy.
Oh, that's awesome. Let's talk about some of the resistance and the challenges that can come up for your clients. It sounds like, they get in there, there's some interesting things happening in a couple weeks, but you said that like it's really easy to fall back. So
Yeah,
are there other things that people in transition or making this big growth should watch out for that is likely to get in the way?
definitely. Recognition that the steps they are taking are small steps. Yet, our career, our progression, our life is, there's a long runway ahead of us. So this is a continuous journey. They have to continuously make sure they are looking at their priorities, they are experiencing, uh, being mindful of what they are doing, and that they're not falling back into the old habits.
All right, so you have said, and I know this as a fact as well as a previous coach, there's still a lot of taboo around people hiring a coach. People feel like they should figure it out themselves. So why do you think that's true? Why do so many professionals like stop before they reach out?
Yeah. I think one, there might be general sense of feeling that what is that coach might know that I don't know. I can figure this out. There is this slight ego or overconfidence. You can say that, hey, I know what to do. I can figure this out. So they're hesitant to reach out and ask. The second thing I also notice is, who is this person? Can I spill out the beans to this person? And what impression will that leave, if that is the case? Some of them who are in their mid career, which is what I focus on, you'll see a lot of executive coaches training CEOs. But who's going to train and coach and provide this mentorship to the mid career folks, right? That is where the majority of transitions happen. That is where the majority of chaos happens. Families are growing, jobs are changing. You're right in the midst of your career where you've grown enough, but there's more to grow. Financially, you are strong enough, but you're still not there yet. Your kids are right there. Your expenses are increasing, but you don't know how to manage it better. And you yourself are going through this midlife crisis on, am I doing enough? Am I doing everything for everybody that I need to? And what happens is you lose or forget yourself in this whole process. And that is why I am here to support, help, nudge, coach mid career professionals, because that is where the most need is. And my nudge is coaching. You shouldn't think that there is something lacking in you. The way you should think is there's this huge potential you have in you, huge potential you have in you. How do you expose it? How do you tap into that potential to really grow and thrive to your full capability? That's what a coach is here to help, not to find gaps, not to find loopholes, but to focus on the strengths this person has and bring them to light. So my nudge to professionals is, don't hesitate from coaching. Coaching is supposed to help you, not not help you.
Okay, so someone's in their mid career, successful ish, exhausted a lot. What is like the one thing that you would tell them to take the next step or to get to where they want to go or to just encourage them?
Reach out. Reach out to someone. It does not need to be me, but reach out to somebody they trust, somebody they can speak out their mind to. That is the most important thing you can do when you're in that mid career so called crisis, transition, whatever is going on. The, the worst thing you can do is not speak out and be muted, right? That is the worst thing you can do to yourself. But by the fact that you can share, you have somebody you can ask opinion about, you can get a perspective from, that's the best thing, best gift you can give to yourself.
That's really good. If you could wave a magic wand, just humor me. If you could wave a magic wand and someone comes to you and they're like, I'm not feeling which way to go. I'm not really satisfied here. My career, this, but my kids, and I want to do this other stuff. Someone's coming to you and you could just like wave a magic wand and fix all their problems. What would that magic wand do if you could just wave it?
If I had a magic wand to help the mid career professionals, that magic wand would organize things for them in a way where they can manage all this chaos that is going around it. The chaos is not going to go away, but they'll be able to better organize and manage it where they are still fulfilled, they're still happy, they see themselves succeeding and growing, and not like they are stuck in a quicksand, getting sucked in every day, right? That is what this would do. So I wish I have a magic wand here. I have pom poms, I'll cheer for them, but that's what that will do. And I honestly believe that. Yeah. People, the biggest challenge is really, Kurt, people don't know they are in transition. And that's as I said, for my business, that
Right.
is the struggle. Because they just live it. They don't pause for a second to think what is going on. Wait a minute. This is what is happening. I need to think about this, do something about it. That is the big challenge. People don't express it. They don't know it. They just live through and years go by and then they're like, what do I do now?
Is there a question that if someone was like scrolling LinkedIn and they're just like, boom, like, oh my goodness, I got to think about this, that you could ask that would just be like, wake up? Like, how do you shake someone awake in this case? Because I totally get that from my coaching days.
Yeah. I think the question is, are you cruising or are you driving? That's one question I would ask in their life, in their career. Many people are just cruising. Things are happening around them. They're going with the flow. Going with the flow is a good thing, but you also need to know which direction are you going. Are you going where you want to go, or are you just going with the flow and then you end up in a ditch and you don't know now how to get out of it? That's where the time, the energy, hey, where are you pouring that time and energy is important. If it is by plan, and it is okay if it is the wrong direction, but as long as it is with a plan, it's fine. You can always pivot from there. The worst thing is you don't have a plan, you landed somewhere based on somebody else's plan, and that is knocking. You don't want that. You don't want that shock and jolt happening to you like, what just happened? 10 years went by and I'm still here. We don't want that to happen. That's why I say, figure out, plan your next step. Even if it is wrong, it is at least your own plan. You can always pivot from there.
Oh, that's a really good point. Can you touch on that for a minute? Even if the plan is wrong, it'll get you somewhere and you can move on from there. You want to just touch on that?
Having a wrong plan is better than a no plan, because end of the day, even that wrong plan is yours. If you think you reached a dead end, you can always pivot and go back. But without a plan, you're just cruising. You're not sure where you're going. So it's always better that you have some plan and pivot as needed.
Because that action will help you take another action if it's wrong, right? Rather than just staying still and doing nothing.
Yes. Every action, it's a domino effect, and you learn from every action. You build your confidence from that action, and you know what is going wrong with that particular action, and then you can pivot, right? If you don't know what your planned action was, everything is to the chances, right? The probability is very low of success when there is no plan, but there is some probability of success when it is per your plan. Yeah.
Let's talk about your why. I mean, this is a different sort of career for you. So get into why you're even doing this.
My why is very simple math here, Kurt. You know, all along throughout my life, I've always wanted to make a positive difference, right? It's simple math. There's a plus, make a positive difference. But then at scale, as I go forward, right? Leaning forward, if I can do it. So making a positive difference at scale. Right? You see the positive, the negative, and then the multiplication there. That's my simple why. Every day, whatever I do, whether it is at work, whether it is at home with my friends, what can I do differently to make things better? Even if it's a small positive difference, that's great. But now I'm looking at how do I scale this so I can impact, more people.
So you got Sun there. It looks like the name of the company or something. Tell me about where that comes from.
Yeah. I have a very strong belief that just like there is only one sun in the solar system, there's only one you. Every person is unique. And If you see, you are at the center of everything I do, right? If you nurture, N stands for nurture, S is for success. If you nurture and invest in yourself, you can be successful. And it's a cyclical process. You continue to nurture, you'll be successful. But from there, you are at now the next plateau in this journey. You need to continue to nurture and then you become successful. That's why I strongly believe, you know, everybody has that potential, just like sun, and they can shine. And my job, my single motto is I'm investing in you so that you can be successful.
Awesome. Any final thoughts in the last 2 minutes here?
I am putting myself out there to help people, right? My whole goal and this whole podcast and these videos I'm doing is to bring scale to what I'm doing, to bring awareness to um, people that do something about your own growth, plan your growth. Don't be quiet. Speak for yourself, because if you don't, who will, right? If you don't raise a hand, who will know your mind that you need help, right? And if you don't have anybody, you have me. That's what I'm here to tell everyone, because I know what it is like not having somebody to talk to. I know what it is like not having a safe space to talk into. And sometimes change, transitions are hard, but that's what I am here to help. I thrive on change. Changes don't baffle me as much. I'm still human, but I know how I can get out of it quickly. I don't dwell on the chaos. I learn from it, but then I focus on what we need to do next. So that's what I'll say to all my fellow folks. Don't be quiet. Believe in yourself. Yesterday was different, but tomorrow could be very different. But the choice is yours. Do you do it with your own choice, or do you let it happen just as things will happen? It's on us, on what we do.
Right on. Pravin, where can people find you and learn more about what you're doing?
Yeah, I'm very active on LinkedIn. I say when I'm not at work or at home, I'm always on LinkedIn. So you'll find me, pravinbetala.com. Launching my website soon. You'll be able to find me there. But you are always welcome to direct message me on LinkedIn and reach out. I'm here to help.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. This has been awesome. Guys, thank you for listening. We will see you back here for the next episode.
Kurt, you did a fantastic job. I appreciate it. And as I said, it's in your last name. I'm here to tell a story to Mr. Storing.